unspiced khichdi. Wow. Maybe we should do that. Oh, okay, so we're on Facebook now also. What's the address?
Hamsagati with an M.
Hamsagati with an M, H-A-M,
S-A,
S-A-G-A-T-I,
and separate word Das.
Das.
And the identity picture is Nityananda's face, Lord Nityananda's face, because there's two of them.
Oh, and there's another Hamsagati. This one has Nityananda's lotus face as the identifying picture. Oh, so I'm talking and nobody can hear me.
This one will pick you up if we plug in a mic. You want?
What's that?
If we turn on the mic, this will pick it up.
It won't hear my voice very well?
If you want to talk.
I mean, I can do the mic. It's just that it's kind of silly with 3 people 10 feet away.
It's for broadcast.
Okay, because these are generally pretty sensitive mics, these headphones.
That should be good.
All right. So anyway, as I was saying, Hamsagati Das on Facebook is also showing this lecture. And if you have Facebook, you may get a better reception because he hasn't been having that problem with the internet. Anyway, you can look it up. So, Shukadeva Goswami said, during the first month of the winter season, the young unmarried girls of Gokul observed the vow of worshipping goddess Katyayani. For the entire month, they ate only unspiced khichdi. Commentary by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. This chapter describes the virgin gopis, Vraja Kumarika, their worship of goddess Katyayani to attain Krishna as their husband. So when he says virgin, he means unmarried gopi girls. Krishna's stealing their clothing, Krishna's conversation with them, and fulfilling their desires, and Krishna's praising the trees. After describing the purva rag of the married gopis, such as Radhika toward Krishna in the autumn season, there is a description of the purva rag of the unmarried Nitya Siddha gopis, such as Dhanya in connection with the Hemant season. So in the previous chapter there was the Venu Geet, beautiful song of Venu Geet, and the gopis praising all the different inhabitants of Braj and their special love for Krishna and how much greater they all are than themselves. They were feeling like this. And the previous was the rainy season and autumn season descriptions. So, okay. So, the distinction between these Kumari gopis performing a vrat in the month of Margasirsha and those like Radha is made in the Harivamsa, Vishnu Purana, and Brahma Purana in such verses as the following, quote, "The young unmarried gopis gathered together while it was still dark." Remember, so by this time Radhika is already married, and her associates. So, next verse. Aplu yang basi kalindya jalante pradite rune kritya prakritim devim anachura nirpasaikatim gandamayai surabibir balibir dupakai uchavachais trapaharai pravala tandulai. My dear king, after they had bathed in the water of the Jamuna, just as the sun was rising, the gopis made an earthen deity of goddess Durga on the riverbank. Then they worshipped her with such aromatic substances as sandalwood pulp, along with other items both opulent and simple, including lamps, fruits, betel nuts, newly grown leaves, and fragrant garlands and incense. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that the word balibir indicates offerings of cloth, ornaments, and food.
So we say that this is the Could we infer that before that Srimati Radhika and that group of gopis was married, they also performed this pastime?
No, can't infer it. It's not said anywhere. So I wouldn't infer it. I think it was significant, and if it happened, it would be mentioned. You know? Yeah. So, next. Now this is the verse that they chant. There's also a tape of Gurudev chanting it while everyone was at the Jamuna. And in the Ananda Vrindavan Champu, this is preceded by the verses which describe their archan, or the puja of the deity Katyayani. Very nice form of archan, worshiping Katyayani like that. Very simple, but also very important to help us understand and bind us to this appreciation of the role of Katyayani, or Purnamasi, or Yogamaya, or Durga, so many names, in order to gain entrance into Braj. So, Katyayani Mahamaye Mahayogin Yadishwari Nanda Gopasutam Devi Patim Me Kurute Namaha Iti Mantram Japatyasta Pujam Chakru Kamarika. Each of the young unmarried girls performed her worship while chanting the following mantra. O Goddess Katyayani, O great potency of the Lord, O possessor of great mystic power and mighty controller of all, please make the son of Nanda Maharaj my husband. I offer my obeisances unto you. So that mantra, O Goddess Katyayani, O great potency of the Lord, O possessor of great mystic power and mighty controller of all, please make the son of Nanda Maharaj my husband. I offer my obeisances unto you. It's a commentary. The gopis prayed, O Katyayani, please make the son of Nanda Maharaj my husband. But, now this is going to be a very long purport here. Very long conversation, and there's subtle points brought into it. So let's try to hear this carefully. But Goddess Katyayani may object. When you say, please do it, what does that have to do with me? You should be allowed to do whatever you wish in this matter. I, on the other hand, shall simply inspire your parents to do the needful in this matter. Therefore, you should rather use the words, please cause someone to do it, or please give this. So why ask me? I'll do it in such a way that the parent, I will inspire the parents. So then, anticipating this objection, the gopis say in anxiety, O great yogini, my connection with Krishna should be immediately arranged by you, without the unnecessary disturbance of my parents. I am too anxious for this and cannot wait. Besides, Krishna has not taken Brahminical initiation yet, so he is not ready for marriage. Therefore, O goddess, overlook the proper rituals of marriage, and in the Gandharva style, let us marry Krishna immediately. So such is the implication. Gandharva marriage is a love marriage, by personal agreement, without parental sanction. So they're saying, no, we're coming directly to you because there are so many social norms and considerations that we can't wait for. If we go to our parents, they'll say, oh, you have to wait till Krishna's old enough. So many other considerations. Our greed is such that we want this now, and we don't care about the formalities of a regular Vedic wedding. Let us make a love marriage. But Katyayani may object. You are thinking of Krishna as your husband and are anxious to have intimate connection with him even without your parents knowing. But how can I possibly fulfill this desire of yours? And the gopis reply, Oh, Adishwari, You have all powers. So, Adi Ishvari, you have all powers. Therefore, nothing is impossible for you. You are Mahamaya, the supreme enchantress. Therefore, by the power of illusion, you should bewilder my parents, so they will not know of my marriage and the secret of my intimate association with Krishna. So even here, even while asking for Krishna as their husband, there's still this mood of wanting to maintain it in a secret way, which adds to the intensity and the flavor of the relationship. We're going to hear why they call her Mahamaya later, and what that means, because sometimes she's referred to as Yogamaya, sometimes Mahamaya. What does this mean? Anyway, bewilder my parents. We want to be married with Krishna, but they don't have to know. So, taking the word Devi to mean divyati, play, it refers to Krishna who plays and causes one to play. Therefore the Gopi says, Devi means Krishna is indeed the husband, so please make him so. Such a status of being a husband can be effected without marriage, and thus there is no harm even if I am married to some other cowherd man. In this way, each of the gopis separately meditates on the meaning of the mantra chanted to petition goddess Katyayani. In Ananda Vrindavan Champu, the gopis pray, O worshipable Devi, please accept this foot wash and cool off our burning breasts with the water from Krishna's feet. We worship you with this argya, so please give us the association of Krishna, who is Maharga, most worshipable. So, again, this Parkya mood is introduced in the commentary so that we can understand, because even though externally there appears to be the desire for Swakya, and Gopal Champu, Jiva Goswami explains that everybody wants Krishna to be the husband of their daughter. There's no doubt about that, but later Purnamasi presents some objection to this. So that the mood of the gopis, which is implied here in this commentary of Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, we want Krishna as our husband, even if there's another marriage. If we have to have another marriage, no harm. We want Krishna to be our husband in this very special way. And even without marriage, we just are identifying him as our sole beloved. So the goddess Durga mentioned in this verse is not the illusory energy of Krishna called Mahamaya, but rather the internal potency of the Lord known as Yogamaya. So it says in the first verse, Katyayani Mahamaye, Mahayogini Adishwari, but he's saying it doesn't mean that they're calling her the external illusory potency, but rather the internal potency of the Lord known as Yogamaya. The distinction between the internal and external potency of the Lord is described in the Narada Pancharatra in the conversation between Shruti and Vidya. Quote, Mahavishnu's inferior potency, known as Durga, is dedicated to his loving service. Being the Lord's potency, this inferior energy is non-different from him, Mahavishnu Sarupini. There is another superior potency whose form is on the same spiritual level as that of God himself. Simply by scientifically understanding this supreme potency, one can immediately achieve the supreme Lord of all, the supreme soul of all souls, who is the Lord of all lords. There is no other process to achieve him. So that first verse quoted from Narada Pancharatra explains the potency and benefit of worshiping this Katyayani, and that by understanding her position as the potency, non-different potency of the Lord, then one may actually achieve Krishna. And without understanding her, there is no other process to achieve him. So in other words, we have to understand the Lord and his energies and how they both work and how they are both interrelated. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada always stressed how we have to be conversant deeply in Sambandha Tattva before we can actually come to Shuddhanam. So you can't neglect the study and immersion in appropriate tattva. Otherwise, misconceptions will cause us to commit offense and also deter us in the proper moods. Sambandha tattva is the foundation by which we can cultivate appropriate understanding and appropriate moods in the gradual evolution and development of our sadhana bhakti. So this pastime and delving deeply into this pastime is very important, because without this we may not really understand the potency of the Lord, the role of Yogamaya, of Purnamasi, and understand the actual interrelationship, the significance, the position in Braj. He goes on to quote, that supreme potency of the Lord is known as Gokuleshwari, the goddess of Gokul. Her nature is to be completely absorbed in love of God, prema sarvasva. And through her, one can easily obtain the primeval God, the Lord of all that be. This internal potency of the Lord has a covering potency, Avadika Shakti, known as Mahamaya, who rules the material world. In fact, she bewilders the entire universe, and thus everyone within the universe falsely identifies himself with the material body. Okay, so now Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is going to explain that. We can thus understand that the internal and external potencies of the Supreme Lord are personified as Yogamaya and Mahamaya, respectively. The name Durga is sometimes used to refer to the internal superior potency as stated in the Pancharatra. Right, because mostly in this world people are worshipping Mahamaya and they refer to her as Durga, the supreme goddess of the universe. And they consider her to be the topmost worshipable entity and deity, but they think that their perfection is to either get all the blessings of this material world or by praying to her to come to an impersonal realization, impersonal perfection. But Durga is also used to explain or to describe Yogamaya, the internal potency. The name is interchangeable. The name Durga is sometimes used to refer to the internal superior potency also. Quote from the Pancharatra, in all mantras used to worship Krishna, the presiding deity is the spiritual Durga. Thus, in the transcendental sound vibrations glorifying and worshipping the absolute truth, Sri Krishna, the presiding deity of the particular mantra or hymn, is called Durga. To confuse the Yogamaya Durga with the Mahamaya Durga is a mistake. Furthermore, although the pastimes of Braj are on the platform of pure transcendence, they sometimes resemble material pastimes in appearance. Therefore, there is no fault in the gopis' worship of Durga or Mahamaya. Independent thinkers who think that the name of Durga and Mahamaya refer exclusively to the external potency of the Lord have no chance of getting even a touch of the breeze carrying the scent of prem on their body. This is from the Vaishnava Toshan. So, that statement means two things. It means if you mistakenly consider the internal Durga to be, to be the external Mahamaya, to be the one that they are actually worshipping, and that Durga refers to Mahamaya only, then you won't be able to approach or understand or approach appropriately the Durga Purnamasi Yogamaya. And thus you will not have any opportunity to achieve prema. So here we're seeing the importance. All these pastimes have two features. On the one hand, they are beautiful lila, which attracts the mind and heart of anyone who hears them, but they're also filled with very important philosophical considerations that our acharyas have so kindly unpacked for us. We have to understand this. And so the gopis, they are saying Mahamaya, but in their hearts, in their mood, they have no connection with Mahamaya. So they are only worshipping the internal potency. However, their pastimes resemble the pastimes of worldly people in many ways. And we see that in the activities that they perform, and even in the rituals. When something happens, the Mother Yashoda is afraid, she calls brahmanas to do rituals, Vedic rituals, simple Vedic rituals that are not necessary in Vrindavan at all, but they add sweetness and they're like Loki, worldly kind of pastimes that add sweetness to the activities of the Brajvasis. So, next verse. Evam masam vratam cherur kumarya Krishna chaitasa bhadrakalim samanarchur uyananda sitapati. Thus for an entire month the girls carried out their vow and properly worshipped the goddess Bhadrakali, fully absorbing their minds in Krishna and meditating upon the following thought: may the son of King Nanda become my husband. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, they worshipped Bhadrakali with the vow, may the son of Nanda be my husband. So again, Bhadrakali is the name of a form of Durga Mahamaya generally, but could there be any fault? What are they praying for? They're praying with absolutely pure heart that Krishna be my husband. So the worship of Bhadrakali again lends a worldly flavor to it, not a mundane, not to diminish or minimize of it, but it makes it like an ordinary, like an ordinary group of girls in this world. They would pray to Bhadrakali, Mahamaya, for a husband. So in this way, the gopis appear to be imitating that. But again, we consider who are these gopis, where have they come from, what is their actual position. We've heard from Gurudev so many times that they come from the forests of Dandakaranya, the Munichari rishis, the Rishicharas, the Shrutichari rishis, the personified Vedas, the great sages worshipping Lord Ram, and others who had perfected their life and their bhajan over tens of thousands of years, and by the mercy and blessings of Lord Ram were allowed to take birth in Krishna's Leela. So these are extraordinary personalities who have gone far beyond any consideration or attachment to anything worldly. And this is just a sweet replica of worldly pastimes. As all Vrindavan appears to be worldly, but it's not in any way. Jai Shri Shri Radha Govinda, Jai Shri Nitai Gauranga, Srila Bhagavan Ki Jai, Jai Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Sudarshan Chakrajuk Ki Jai, and Shri Guru Parampara Ki Jai. So, Usa Sutaya Goptrai Swar Anyonya Badabhavaha Krishna Muchar Jagur Janta Kalindyam Snatuman Vayam. Each day they rose at dawn. Calling out to one another by name, they all held hands and loudly sang the glories of Krishna while going to the Kalindi to take their bath. Purport. This verse continues the second verse's description of the gopis going to the Jamuna for bathing. They called each other by name. Oh, Danya, where are you? Why are you late? Nadya kadachida gatya tire nishipya purvavat vasam si krishnam gayantyo vijaru salile muda. One day they came to the riverbank and, putting aside their clothing, as they had done before, happily played in the water while singing the glories of Krishna. Purport. Gadachit, once, here means on the full moon day when the gopis had completed their 1-month vow. This was mentioned in the 5th verse. To celebrate the successful completion of their vow, the Brajakumaris invited Vrishabhanu Nandini, who was the special object of their affection, along with other main gopis, and brought them all to the river to bathe. Their playing in the Jamuna was meant to serve as the Avabrita Snan, the ceremonial bath taken immediately upon the completion of a Vedic sacrifice. So this is very important that they've invited Srimati Radhika. Krishna's not appeared yet. They've been praying for a month. He's not appeared yet. And Vrishabhanu Nandini is the special object of their affection. And other gopis, these are her associates. So those in this particular pastime have inclination towards Srimati Radhika. Bhagavan's, and we're going to hear why Radhika coming is significant and important. Bhagavan's Tadidi Pretya Krishna Yogeshvara Raha Vayasyad Avatas Tatra Gatas Tat Karma Sitaye. Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead and master of all masters of mystic yoga, was aware of what the gopis were doing, and thus he went there, surrounded by his young companions, to award the gopis the perfection of their endeavor. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains, Krishna is the master of all mystic power. Thus, being omniscient, Krishna easily understood the desires of the gopis, and he would fulfill them. The gopis, like all young girls from respectable families, considered the embarrassment of appearing naked before a young boy to be worse than death. Yet, Sri Krishna made them come out of the Jamuna and bow down to him. Although the gopis' bodies were fully developed, and although Krishna met them in a secluded place and brought them fully under his control, because Krishna is completely transcendental, there was not a trace of material desire in his mind. As the ocean of transcendental bliss, Sri Krishna wanted to share his bliss with the gopis on the spiritual platform, completely free of mundane lust. This is the import of the word Yogeshvareshvara. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur so far is explaining in a way that Srila Prabhupada often explained to make clear that nothing of this pastime is mundane or has any tint of the attraction of the mundane senses to mundane objects. Krishna is fully transcendental. These gopis are also fully transcendental. And Krishna is wanting to share a very high state of transcendental love and affection. He wants to reciprocate with the gopis in this very deep way of praying. And we're also going to hear something else about why he wanted them to be naked. Not for the purpose of enjoying in a mundane way, or to see and enjoy in a lusty way, but it indicates something. Because they were praying that Krishna be our beloved, our husband. So Krishna's pastime from this point on, hiding their clothes and joking with them, it's a pastime with such an intimacy that only a husband and wife can enjoy together. And the gopis are understanding this, and even though they're going to be so shy and reluctant, they're still going to be overjoyed that Krishna is reciprocating with them in this way. It means, yes, I'm accepting you in the way that you have desired. And not just the joking and the teasing, but then having to stand before him in that way, seeing them naked, only a husband can do that. And so they come to this understanding and appreciation. It's very high and very transcendental. So, according to Shastric references, the word Vayasya means Krishna's friends, that means they were mere toddlers, 2 or 3 years old. These young boys were completely naked and were unaware of the difference between male and female. When Krishna went out to herd the cows, they followed him because they were so attached to Krishna that they could not bear to be without him. The Kramdipika says, Krishna was surrounded by babies who spoke in broken language, who wore tiger nails around their necks and tinkling bells around their waists, and who had fat thighs. The Vaishnava Toshini, quoting from Gautamiya Tantra, lists the names of the boys as Dam, Sudam, Vasudam, and Kinkini. They were the very personification of Krishna's heart. So Krishna was also quite young here, because this takes place right after, I believe, the lifting of Govardhan. So he's still only 7 or 8, so these would be boys who were younger than him. But his cowherd boy friends have different ages. Some are his age, some are a little older, and some are some years younger. And this would be those boys. Tasam vasam ipadaya nipam aruhya satvara hasadvi vasam balai parihasam uvachaha. Taking the girl's garments, he quickly climbed to the top of a kadamba tree, and then he laughed loudly, and his companions also laughed, and he addressed the girls jokingly. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, the small boys laughed for no reason, because he heard him laughing, so they started laughing, but they didn't know why. By laughing loudly, Krishna called attention to himself and then joked with the Vrajakumaris. Krishna said, "Oh, young girls of Braj, do you know who has put all these clothes on the branch of the Kadamba tree? While herding the cows, I saw them from far away and thought, today the Kadamba tree is very attractive with colorful flowers and fruits. To see this astonishing spectacle, I came running here and climbed this tree." The young girls replied, "These are our clothes." Krishna, "Well, that cannot be. If they were yours, how did they get up on this branch high in the tree?" Gopis, "You have stolen them and put them there." Krishna, "Are you blaming me? I am the son of King Nanda. Am I a thief? If you doubt me, then just go to Mathura and complain to King Kamsa." Gopis, "Don't get angry. Just look closely at the clothing and see if they are women's or men's clothing." Krishna, "According to my understanding, they must be women's clothing because they are so colorful. But so what? You're not the only women in the universe. Could these not be the clothes of some other women?" Gopis, "Well, that's true. But who else besides us can come to this secluded forest?" Krishna, "Oh, girls who like to wander in lonely places, are you the only women that wander in lonely places and play privately?" Gopis, "Oh, fool! We did not come here to play. We came to worship Durga, the deity of this Kadamba tree." Krishna, "Are you the only young women worshipping Durga? Are there no others?" Gopis, "No, there are no others." Krishna, Oh, foolish ones. Every night the demigoddesses come here on celestial vehicles to worship Durga, gopis. Even if they did perform worship here, why would they leave their clothing here and go away? Krishna. Oh, young girls, you do not know anything. Tonight they will come again and perform worship. After bathing, they will don these clothes. That is why they've left them here. Gopis. You do not know the truth. Today we will perform worship. The deity of the forest has placed these clothes high up in the tree for us to wear after bathing. Now the next verse. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he's filling in, he does this in his purports, he gives so much dialogue that may be implied or hidden, but it's also revealed by previous acharyas, Jiva Goswami, Kavi Kanapur, and others, and of course his own internal vision of this pastime. Atra gatya balakamam swam swam vasa pragrityatam satyam bravami no narma yadyuyam vrata karshita. Make sure that we so, okay, they're having a little trouble. Some have both on. I don't think you can have both things on. Okay, we're down to 3 people.
You
The
have
others are on Facebook.
you have 5 on Facebook.
Okay. All right, my dear girls, you may come here as you wish and take back your garments. I am telling you the truth, and I'm not joking with you, since I see that you are fatigued from executing austere vows. So Krishna said, okay, if they're your clothes, come and take them. They're here for you. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, this verse illustrates how Krishna joked with the girls. Krishna said, if these clothes are really yours, then come here if you like and identify them. You can take them after paying me 1 small necklace each in order to satisfy me after you have insulted me. Each of you should come individually, not all at once, or 2 or 3 together, because out of greed for the cloth, one woman will take more than 1 cloth. So he's insulting them again. Appearing so magnanimous and generous, he's also insulting them. And after chastising them for insulting him, he gets back at them. You're so greedy, I can't trust you that you may take other people's cloth in the confusion if everybody comes in all at the same time. The gopis reply, no, we cannot go there. Krishna's laughing, oh girls, you have become weak due to your intense austerities and therefore cannot come here. So he's laughing, oh, it must be because of your austerities you can't come? Or another implication is, if you don't do this, I will not give the clothing because I am strong. What can you weak women do? So, and the gopis reply, well, we do not trust your crafty words. Krishna, oh, I am telling you the truth. And what he's doing here, he's showing the different words in the verse, the words like satyam, bala, strength, truth. He's applying different definitions in the context to make the argument come out in different ways. I am making a vow to you, because satyam can mean truth or vow. I am not joking. I see that you are exhausted from the difficulties of your vows. Because of your austerities, I am upholding the principles of religion by showing mercy and devotion to you. So Krishna is saying that actually I am being so religious and so magnanimous by this offer to you. Then, no mayo ditpurvam va anuritam tad ime vidu ekakasha pratitchadvam saheveti sumadhyama. I have never before spoken a lie, and these boys know it. Therefore, O slender-waisted girls, please come forward, either one by one or all together, and pick out your clothes. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, the gopis replied to Krishna, because you are a liar, we do not believe your promise. Krishna bit his tongue while saying, I have never told any lies. From birth until now, I have not had any occasion to lie. What is the proof? These young boys are the witnesses. They are reliable as witnesses because they naturally report whatever they see. The gopis respond, from far away, please, throw the clothes to us in the water, or just have the young boys bring them here. Krishna, I am unable to discern one woman's clothes from another. How then can I throw them to you? Being a very religious person, I do not touch the possessions of others, even with my fingernail. Therefore you must come here. Identify your own clothes and take them. It is my firm rule not to touch, take, or give the things of others. Gopis. Oh, because you are so impudent, you can embarrass us. Due to this fear and the fact that we are respectable women, we will not come near you. Krishna. One of the young girls among you can come forward. If she is not embarrassed and returns to you, then others can come one by one. Or all can come together. If you come as a group, it would be impossible to embarrass you. The head is the topmost part of the body, and it is very beautiful. So please show me your heads. If you can show your heads, then you should not be embarrassed to show me your other beautiful limbs, including your beautiful slender waists. So, tasya tat shvelitam darshtva gopya prema paritputa vridita prekshachanyonyam jataha saninirjayu. Seeing how Krishna was joking with them, the gopis became fully immersed in love for him. And as they glanced at each other, they began to laugh and joke among themselves, even in their embarrassment. But still, they did not come out of the water. So now their love is increasing. They're enjoying Krishna's joking, even though they are, retorting back, in harsh tones and clever rejection of the suggestions. They're actually appreciating that he's doing this very much. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, quoting the gopis, to make Krishna happy, I think we should not be so self-conscious. Thinking like this, the gopis began to joyfully talk among themselves. Glancing at one another, they became embarrassed. The gopis were from most respectable families, and they might have argued with Krishna, why don't you simply leave our clothes on the bank of the river and go away? But Krishna would say, but there are so many of you that some of the girls might take clothes belonging to another. And gopis would respond, we are honest and never steal anything. We never touch another's property. Krishna then, well, if that's true, then simply come and get your clothes. What is the difficulty? When the gopis saw that Krishna's determination, they were filled with loving ecstasy. Although embarrassed, they were overjoyed to receive such attention from Krishna. Now here it is, listen to this. He was joking with them as if they were his wives or girlfriends, and the gopis' only desire was to achieve such a relationship with him. At the same time, they were embarrassed to be seen naked by him, but still they could not help laughing at his joking words and even began to joke among themselves. One gopi said to another, "Oh, lotus-eyed Krishna is calling you." The second gopi answered, "Oh, beautiful-faced one, you go first. and let us see if Krishna plays any tricks on you. Then we'll go later. In this way they joked among themselves, but remained in the water without moving. So here he's explaining really clearly that the gopis are accepting all of Krishna's taunts and entreaties to them as acceptance of their wish, that he was joking with them as if they were his wives or girlfriends, and that is what they wanted to achieve. And now their time in the water, now they're laughing amongst themselves. You should go. No, you go. Oh, if you go and nothing happens, then the rest of us can go. They want to go. They're laughing now very happily about this, but they're still bound by shyness and a sense of chastity. Shyness, Gurudev has said, is one of the, perhaps the greatest ornament of these beautiful gopis. It shows itself in so many ways. It covers their deep praying, their deep emotions, and it presents a particular obstacle for Krishna to overcome. And Krishna's overcoming the obstacles to meeting and fully enjoying with them is part of what makes their love play so beautiful, and that's what's going on now. Now they want to go, they're happy, but they're shy and chaste. So, evam bruvati govinde mahanakshi pita chaitasa akanta magnasti dode vepamanas tamabruvan. As Sri Krishna spoke to the gopis in this way, his joking words completely captivated their minds. Submerged up to their necks in the cold water, they began to shiver. Thus they addressed him as follows. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, in this way, Govinda continued to joke. The word Govinde here means one who speaks in sweet words, such as the following. Krishna, oh dark-haired girls, if you don't come here, I will tie all these clothes to a branch of the tree, make a hammock and a pillow, and lie down, since now I'm quite sleepy due to having stayed up all night. Gopis, oh Gopal, your cows, being greedy for grass, have gone into a mountain cave. You must go quickly to herd them back on the proper path. Krishna, oh Gopabala, cowherd girls, you should quickly leave here and go to Braj to do your household duties. You should not make your parents and elders suffer. So they're taunting each other back and forth. Krishna, just go away. Don't you know your cows are getting lost? Oh, gopis, you should just get out of the water and go back to the village. Your parents are missing you. The gopis, oh dear Krishna, we will not go home for an entire month, for it is by the cold and also from their anxiety, joy, and eagerness, the gopis addressed Krishna as follows. So there's more conversation. It usually takes 2 days to read this pastime. So we will finish this pastime tomorrow. But what we've heard so much, I'm not moving the phone about. That was the iPhone guy. This phone is staying put. Anyway, so what we've heard so far is quite delightful. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is revealing so many wonderful truths about this, and also giving us stern warnings not to think of this in any way as a mundane thing. Sometimes it's said that that devotees in lesser stage of development in bhakti, still strongly situated in material consciousness, should avoid hearing these kinds of pastimes, because in that state it will induce mundane lust. But Srila Goswami and our acharyas have said, no, we should hear these pastimes because they will help us develop towards prema, and that will kill the lust. but we have to be very careful to hear the pastimes under guidance with a mood of deep humility and deep dependence on our gurus. And for myself, sometimes I pray during the pastime, please don't let me see this in any mundane or lustful way. Even while I'm reading, I may be thinking like that, because that's the reality of our state. Please let the true nature of these pastimes be revealed in my heart and in the hearts of others. These words of Shukadev Goswami, these words of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, let them manifest purely in our hearts. Jai Shri Srila Govinda, Jai Shri Srila Jai Giriraj Maharaj, Jai Nrsimha Bhagavan, Jai Jagannath Padev Subhadra Siddhartha Chakravarti, Jai Jai Shri Guru Prabhupada. So, that will end today, and we have so many wonderful things to hear. You'll find that this is a very wonderful platform, and that when we hear the descriptions that are also there in Ananda Vrindavan Champu and Gopal Champu, it will just expand your appreciation so much of this. Because in just one more day we'll be finished with this, then on to the next, and the next. So, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur ki jai, Shri Guru Parampara ki jai, Katyani Vat ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Bol. Yeah, but they have their...
That's okay.
Yeah, okay.
We're just talking.
You have to be near him so they can hear. Oi, Thanks Gati.
He has a hearing problem.
Oh, okay. I have a hearing problem too.
Yes, Maharaj, speak up, please.
Yeah. So you know that verse, you were alluding to it when you mentioned at the very end about how Sukadeva Goswami, he's recommending.
Vikriti dam vrajavadubhiri dam cha Vishnu.
Shraddhan vitam anushunyat atavaranaye. Yeah. So that's a very interesting verse, because as you were pointing out, can you just put it down and just not stand in front of it? It's very distracting.
Don't hover.
Yeah.
I was remembering a TV camera.
There you go.
Anyway, Shraddhan vitam anushunyat. So there's a particular specification here how one has to hear. And I remember Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj, he was explaining this. Yeah, he was explaining, because you were saying, oh, when you're reading it, then you're feeling to be very careful.
Two sound systems for everybody. Yeah.
You can still sit, you can just hold on to it. Because on one side, we see that Srila Prabhupada gave direct instructions to certain individuals, particularly Haigriva, who was inquiring about it, and then our godbrother, Mithiladish, those two persons I know in particular, that Srila Prabhupada was answering their question about like being lusty and not being able to control their lust, right? In that condition that they were in at the time. And so Srila Prabhupada's recommendation, then you should read the Krishna book and the pastimes of Krishna with the gopis and Āśleṣā.
Right.
And so they were taking this as a prescription, which they followed. And the result actually came. I've spoken with Mithiladish about this a number of times. He used to like to recall this, that actually he would do it every night before going to bed.
Really?
Yes, yes. and it worked. Otherwise, he would get lusty in his dreams and this and that. Here is a case where one of our acharyas is prescribing it to persons who are directly lusty.
Yeah.
But they have faith in Krishna and
Right.
Krishna's pastimes. Shraddhan vitam anushunyat. So that's the prescription that qualifies whether one should hear this or not.
Right.
Because there's so much negative instructions that one should not hear this, right? And
Yeah.
our acharyas do repeat those.
Right.
But Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj, he was making the point, I remember reading his comment about this, that if one has faith that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, not an ordinary person, because they're devotees, they understand this, they've been studying Krishna Katha and Krishna's own words in Gita and so forth. So they have Shraddha, Shraddhan Vitam. They have Shraddha. And the other thing is that they have faith that actually Krishna's activities are completely transcendental. They're not of the mundane world. They may not have realized the transcendental nature of them, but they have faith that that is a true fact, right? So those persons, they can then read these pastimes. And there was one more, I remember, that Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj said, one of the signs, and this is, maybe not to be spoken in public, but I'm saying it anyway, is that...
Not too public. It's
there will not be, when the person is reading, there will not be any arousal of a certain part of the body. He said that's the symptom. If someone is experiencing that, then they should not read like that. But otherwise, yes, Bhaktim Param Bhagavati Pratilabhya Kama Ridrogam Ashu Apahinoti Acharena Dira. That will be the effect. And that's what Sukadeva Goswami has directly instructed to Maharaj Parikshit, that one should and even must hear these and also repeat these pastimes. And then the result will be Bhaktim Param Bhagavati. First Bhakti will come, and then Hridroga, the disease of the heart, then that will be eliminated in due course. But Gurudev was also commenting in his Venugit introduction on this exact point. And he was saying that sometimes persons are saying that until you're free from lust, you should not hear this.
Right.
But then Gurudev says, you will never become free from lust unless you hear these things.
Right.
That's the actual antidote to these things. And it will happen very, very quickly, Ashu apahinot achirena dira. It will happen very quickly for a dira, for a sober person. The word dira is there. And dira, according to what we're studying in the Upadeshamrita on the commentary of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, on the Dairyat, the quality of Dairyat. And Dairyat is the third thing, Utsahan Nishchaya Dairyat. And Dairyat comes from the word Dira. It has the same root. And Dira means sober. And sober means that you are able to tolerate the urges, the 6 urges. Vachavega, Manasa, Krodha, Vega. So there is some qualification is there. And this is what Gurudev would often defend himself when persons would accuse, oh, you're speaking too much high things.
Right.
He said, these are practicing devotees. They've been practicing for many years.
Right.
They may not be perfected, of course, but they've been controlling their senses. They've been trying to follow the Upadeshamrita, right? Whether they're in household life or sannyas life or whatever. So these persons need to hear this now. Gurudev would say, if they don't hear this, and he would allude to certain persons falling down in certain institutions, that the reason why they fell down is because exactly this. They did not hear these things at that critical time, when in their spiritual life, that they still have anarthas that could pull them back. But they've given up everything and they've adopted the process of bhakti, but their anarthas are not yet sufficiently cleared. And he said there's a critical point at which, unless you hear these higher subject matters, you will not be able to develop that attraction which will pull you beyond the anartha thing. So, yeah, so all these different considerations have to be there. But overall, we've seen that our modern day acharyas who are preaching in the West to persons who don't even yet have barely any qualifications in bhakti, yes, you must hear these pastimes. And that's why how Srila Prabhupada wrote the Krishna book is that he continually reminded everyone that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the Bhagavad Gita, and all of that. So then it becomes a safe thing for people to read.
The expert presentation.
So if you're taking it to
And he
the
also
Shastra
said that Gurudev said if you don't read this or you don't believe it, you're an atheist.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're really harsh words.
Yeah.
I have to go do it. Quick number one.
Okay,
Hi.
go ahead.
Can you do Hare Krishna?
Anytime.
I drank a ton of liquid before I started the class. So there we go. There we go. All right.
Go.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna,
die.